So today I finally decided to film, since today is my first day of summer vacation. I have nothing to do. I was like, I'll film a video. So I looked up, different tags, and I found this one called the favorite books tag. I read a lot. I read like a lot. So I, yeah. So I have multiple books and I want to share them with you. So yeah, let's get this ball rolling. Favorite book you've recently read? I'm reading a book now, but that book will be later on down the list. But my favorite book that I've read recently was The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I love that book so much. I read it, I cried. I never cried books. I didn't even cry reading The Fault in Our Stars. Just to let you know, I cried. I read it. I loved it so much. I thought it was like perfect representation of like something, and it was like everything that could have happened to him happened to him. It was such a good book. I loved the movie too. I felt like the movie was more so like for the people who like made more sense if you read the book with it. Like the movie was like this add-on to the book. I felt like the book was just like helping to develop the plot of the movie was helping to develop the plot of the book, and everything was beautiful about that book. Charlie was really awesome, and the music and everything, just the best. Just a really good book. That's all I'm gonna say. Favorite book when traveling. I always have a different book when I travel. It's usually something that's not like thick, like big, like the Divergent books. It's usually something much smaller. So if I go traveling this summer, my book of choice to take would be The Hobbit, because as you can see, it's not that thick. It's like 200. It's exactly 300 pages. Like the last page. It's literally 300 pages. It's very thin. It probably fits really well into a backpack. So this is my traveling book of choice this summer, and I've already started it, so it won't be very big. Okay. Next one. Favorite book as a child. I didn't like reading as a child, actually. Well, I did. I was always a fan of like books per se, but I liked picture books, and then I hated chapter books with a vivid passion until I turned like 10 years old, and then I read this book. Well, then I turned 11 and I read this book called Start with an H, and it was about this. Borrowed it from the school library, thinking that was okay, and I read it, and it was a book about a girl who worked at a diner with her mom, and then a girl moved into town, and her name was Sarah, with an age, and she was Jewish, and it was about how people treated Sarah differently, but it was from the other girl's perspective. It was a really good book. I was only 11 when I read it, and it was like a 7th or 8th grade level book. I was only in 5th grade. It was so good. It took me a long time. I finished it took me like 2 to 3 weeks to finish it, because I was just kind of pushed through. I didn't ever read anything at that level, and I was like, ugh, it was so good. I still remember it to this day, and it's like 6 years ago. So yeah, I still remember it, so that might be on my reread list. Favorite series of books. I don't know if this counts. I'm going to make it count. It's a comic book. Scott Pilgrim. Comic books are my favorite series. I've read them. I watched the movie. I loved all of it. I even bought the first volume hardcover in color. I got conned into buying this at the bookstore, but I think it was so worth it, and I might buy the whole series. maybe. But this is my favorite series of books. I read this in like a week. I love it. I've seen the movie almost twice. If you read this. Read Scott Pilgrim. Read it. I don't care. This is like the #1 geek. Like, if you are a nerd or geek, more person, a geek, because a geek is obsessed with everything. A nerd is something different. You gotta learn your differences. This is #1, like, geek reads. #1. Every geek should know this. This is your holy grail, your Bible. Sorry, I really love Scott Pilgrim. Nobody knows. My favorite genre. I like everything. Preferably, I have a preference towards fantasy, though. Preference towards fantasy and science fiction. Those are most of the ones that I read, but when I read a realistic fiction book, it turns out to be really good, but most of the realistic fiction books I read are about depressed teenagers, like Perks of Being a Wallflower and The Fault in Our Stars. Even though she wasn't depressed, I like reading sad books, apparently. But I like science fiction, fantasy, some realistic fiction, not too much though. Favorite reread? I've only reread 2 books in my life. One was this really cheesy book. I don't even know why I reread it. This, as you can see, I'm reading it now again for the 3rd time. But this is called It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I've reread this. This is my 3rd time reading this. I had no intention of rereading it, and I did. I could reread this book forever. You know how Hazel Grace had a book that she'd just read forever? This is my book that I could just read forever. I could read this and be satisfied completely. I love this book. I could reread it for the rest of my life and be perfectly fine. I love how I relate to the main character so much, and you know, I really wish I met Ned before, you know, and if anything, I really wish I could have talked to him, you know, but you know, things happen. Favorite books that are now films? You already know what this is. The Fault in Our Stars. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. It followed the book very well. I think that it would follow the book almost to a T. Because I noticed those things, but followed it almost to a T. Really good movie. Awesome book. My goal this summer is to read every book John Green has ever written. My next one to read is Paper Towns. So, super excited. Super excited about that. And the last one is favorite book of all time. And we're gonna bring some of them back. It's Kind of a Funny Story. My favorite book of all time. There is no book I will ever read that I will ever feel as strongly about as this book. It's my favorite book. It's my favorite book. The main character is awesome. I relate to the main character in such a good way. It's a book about depression. It's not the least bit depressing. I personally went through depression. It sucked. And I like how this book is not glamorizing the idea of depression, which happens a lot in a lot of things, like Tumblr and things. The idea of... this is so much better. The idea of depression is glamorous, but depression is not glamorous. So, that is it. Those are all the questions. I will leave the questions in the description in case you want to do this yourself. I tag any of you that watch this because I don't actually have any YouTube friends. I only have about 6 subscribers, but I love all 6 of you. So, yeah. If you guys could leave video suggestions, what you want to see in the comments, because I'm officially on summer vacation, so I can definitely make some more videos. Woo-hoo. And just so you know, we're sitting in my room right now. It's making its way. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Don't forget to subscribe, comment down below what you want to see, like this video if you want to see more tags, and yeah, bye guys.